Have you heard about the 18-kilometre bridge from here in Koh Samui to Khanom on the mainland? Well, if you haven't, don't worry, because I'm about to tell you all about it. This isn't it, by the way.
The idea of connecting Koh Samui to the mainland has been floating around for years, and this post from June 2012 shows a design that included both a bridge and a tunnel already existed. But it wasn't until late 2019 that articles began appearing after designer Wirat Pongchapapna proposed an 18-kilometre bridge, which was supported by the director of Koh Samui Hospital, who said that the transportation of emergency cases to the mainland at night or during stormy season was often very time-consuming and sometimes impossible. Things looked grim for the plan when articles from December 2019 stated that the Tourism and Sports Minister had shown very little interest in the project. But just 1 month later, in January 2020, hope re-emerged as then Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha publicly stated that he was not opposed to the bridge, but that he did not support the proposal from a local MP that it be named after him. Later that year it was in the news again as it was discussed during the Prime Minister's visit to Samui. And finally, in July 2022, the bridge was approved, along with 4 other major projects across Thailand. As you might expect, the news was very gratefully received by Samui business owners who urged the Thai government to press on with the project and announced a construction schedule. By December last year, their wishes had been granted, and the most recent reports from early this year stated that the project, which has a budget of 25 billion baht, was scheduled to begin in 2028 and be completed by 2030.
So if we put aside for one moment the fact that the roadworks outside Big C have been going on since before COVID, and imagine that it is in fact possible to create an 18-kilometre bridge from here to the mainland within 2 years, there is still quite a few hurdles to overcome to even get to that point.
Firstly, the contract was supposed to have been given to a company by April this year, who, according to the Tiger, would have 1 year to study the feasibility of the project and submit an environmental assessment report. Assuming that was given the green light, the Bangkok Post reported that residents would then be consulted and they would decide if the project were to go ahead. Only then, said the Post, would a deeper study on engineering, financial aspects and the environmental impacts begin, and they were scheduled to take a further 24 months.
Now, a new government just got voted in here in Thailand, and one of the changes that they want to make is regarding the marijuana laws here, after thousands and thousands of shops around the country have been set up. Now, that's a different subject for a different video, but if they can U-turn on the marijuana laws, they can certainly make a U-turn on a bridge that's going to cost them 25 billion baht and was approved by the previous administration. And worryingly, it's now June and there's still been no mention in the press of who got that contract back in April. In fact, there's been no mention in the press of this bridge since January this year. So what we can't say for sure right now is whether the bridge will or won't definitely exist, but last we heard it was still on the cards. What we can do right now though is discuss the pros and cons of the bridge's potential existence. So for the next few minutes, let's just imagine that if I'm wearing a blue top and a black hat, then I think that the bridge is the best thing since sliced bread. Alright, let's move on.
But if I'm wearing my white Mad Mohali's t-shirt and specs, then it means that I think the bridge smells like a donkey's cock. Let's see what happens.
Hello. Oh, you're very wet. You having that ball? Let's put that there, shall we? So we've already mentioned the obvious medical benefits that the bridge. So we've already discussed the obvious advantages of the bridge for medical emergencies in terms of getting people off the island in the dead of night or during monsoon season. But let's now discuss some of the many other benefits that the bridge will bring. Now, the biggest advantage of building this bridge is the accessibility that it will provide to the island. Right now, if you want to come, your best bet is to come via the airport, which sounds great until you find out that Bangkok Airways own the lease on the airport and it basically have a monopoly. Therefore, no other companies can fly in, and they've been able to increase their prices. Beautiful airport, just very expensive. Anywhere else in Thailand you can fly in for about 1,000 baht a go, so Phuket, Pattaya, Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Udon Thani, etc. If you want to come to Koh Samui, you're talking about 3,500 baht one way. If you live in Koh Samui, you can get a residence pass and it brings it down somewhat. And in high season, despite the fact that they put on a load of extra flights, you're looking at over 10,000 baht a seat sometimes, and there's still not a seat to be had. This bridge would end our over-reliance on that airport and Bangkok Airways. The bridge might also, you feel, bring an end to the 1.5 hour sea tran and, in this case, Raja ferry trips from Don Sak. Your second option, if you want to come to Koh Samui right now, that was a shame because that would have been quite cool, that, wouldn't it? Try again. Your second option, if you want to come to Koh Samui right now, is to come by sea. And there are various options, I guess, in that regard, depending on where you're coming from. But right now, if you're in Bangkok, that would mean either flying into Surat Thani, taking a taxi from Surat Thani to Don Sak, and then taking a 1.5 hour ferry across to Koh Samui. The whole journey time, what we're getting from your house to the airport and stuff, you're talking at least 6 hours. An alternative would be to come on the all-night trip with Lon Prior, which I believe takes about 13 hours. You come down, end up taking a boat from Chumpon via Koh Tan and Koh Phangan. You're on boats for about 3.5 hours. If you're in Pattaya, you could take the car ferry. It's about 12 or 13 hours, I believe, port to port. If you're in Phuket, you could also come from Lon Prior. It takes about 7 hours. Again, you come via Don Sak, 1.5 hours on the boat. If you're in a car, you can go to Don Sak Pier, and it's 550 baht per car, extra if you've got passengers, and that takes 1.5 hours on a good day, 2 hours sometimes. Again, during high season, there's reports of people turning up to the port in Don Sak and waiting up to 5 hours to get their car onto a ferry. If you were coming for the day, I mean, firstly, you're looking at over 3 hours on a boat for starters. But if you've had to wait 5 hours just to get here, there's no point in coming at all, is there? Driving is going to be 15 to 20 minutes, and it's going to be a very pleasant experience because it's going to be 2 lanes of traffic in both directions. And where the bridge is due to connect to Koh Samui is down here in the very sleepy, quiet southwest of the island. If you look, even the ring road around the island kind of avoids this area. Now, if the bridge is built, you were talking hundreds of thousands of extra visitors to this area, which will surely provide a massive shot in the arm and finally bring the sleepy west side of the island to life. In 10 or 15 years, this could be an area that rivals Shaweng or Boh Put. And all the land and businesses and houses there are going to see a massive spike, both in terms of volume and price. Yeah. That same accessibility that you speak of will ultimately be one of the biggest problems facing the bridge, because once people get here, they'll find that the island is simply ill-equipped to deal with the increased numbers. We don't have the infrastructure yet. In high season, you already can't get a car or a bike or a hotel room. There's already endless roadworks going on. How are we supposed to deal with potentially hundreds of thousands of extra visitors every year? So where's everyone going to go? Also, anyone who likes their islands in any way sort of rustic and natural would say that adding this massive bridge to an island that already has an international airport and several busy ports and piers is simply overkill. As is the idea of another Shaweng or Boh Put on the island, especially on the beautiful untouched west, which still looks and feels like the real Thailand. Is it really so bad that people need to pay a premium to come here relative to other places? I mean, doesn't that just keep away the budget holiday makers and the cheap Charlies in favour of them high-end tourists that most resorts crave? And if all the seats are taken on the planes and people are waiting 5 hours to get their car on a boat, doesn't that mean that people are in fact willing to pay the price or wait the time that it takes to get here? And also, is 550 baht for a 90-minute car ferry really so scandalous? Now, as a foreigner, it's easy to say that if the planes are full, there's no problem, and 550 baht to take the boat isn't all that much. But the problem is that for Thai people, it makes the island pretty much inaccessible, or at the very least, a very expensive option. And that's who this bridge is being built for. It's not for foreigners, it's not for Farangs. this bridge is predominantly for Thai people and domestic tourists to produce a gateway from the mainland to Koh Samui so that they can come. The people of Satun, people of Nakhon Si Thammarat, Suratani, Trang, Karabi, etc. It will also bring to life, you feel, the sleepy coastal district of Khanom on the other side of the bridge, which despite its wonderful stretch of beaches has always remained largely untouched by foreign tourists. Once this bridge is built, that will change, believe me, and there's a video coming up on that very subject matter, so if you're interested in that, please do subscribe, because in the next video I'm going to be on the other side of the bridge that doesn't yet exist. I am going to Khanom to check out 5 different beaches in one day. It's time for another one of them episodes. Then there are the obvious environmental effects that building a bridge of this magnitude will bring, both short and long term. Not only are we talking about years of construction and harm, but once it's built, we're looking at an endless stream, 2 lanes of traffic in both directions, pumping fumes into the air. And once the vehicles arrive, they'll find that Samui is ill-equipped to deal with their increased numbers. If this bridge is really to promote tourism, then why not make it a train service? Not only will that lower our emissions, but it means that once people get here, they'll still need to rent cars or bikes or take a bus or a taxi, thus promoting spending, and isn't that what we want our tourists to do? Well, again, this bridge is mostly for Thai people, and the ability to bring your car, the ability to bring your own car is going to greatly reduce the amount of money you need to spend when you get here. In fact, being able to drive home the same day means that a lot of people probably won't even bother to rent a hotel anymore. It'll be a day trip. Come on then. The current plan also has the bridge pass directly over the nearby island of Koh Tan. And if that were the case, you would feel there is an option there to create a bypass so that people could stop off, swim on the beach, walk up to the viewpoint, see Big Buddha there. Used to have 600 or 800 inhabitants. It had a hospital, it had a school. They're still there, but they're closed because everyone left in the 80s when Koh Samui took off. So wouldn't it be great to revitalise that island as well? The idea of having what would be a massive, noisy eyesore towering over the tranquil, little-known island of Koh Tan is enough to make a grown man cry. Have we not ruined enough places of natural beauty already, guys? Come on. In addition, the bridge is going to be tolled, which means that not only will it produce enough money to maintain itself, it should produce enough on top to be able to provide for other things that are required around the country. So what do I really think? In all honesty, I can see the merit of both arguments. As someone that lives here and doesn't own a business, the last thing I want is more people and businesses and traffic on the road and rising prices. It sounds terrible. But if I were to invest in a business between now and when the bridge is built, I'd probably be happy for the extra footfall. But in all honesty, both of those answers are just incredibly selfish, and the real question should be, what's the best thing for Koh Samui? The people that live here now and the people that will live here in future generations. And to answer that properly, I can't talk. And to answer that properly, I'd need my crystal ball. All I can do is give opinions, and mine is that this bridge will probably bring more police and more rules. Prices will increase, and the seemingly endless roadworks and buildings are just set to continue for another decade. Great, yeah, in high season there is probably 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even less than that, but around the new year, where you really do struggle to find a bike or a car or get a room, and everyone tries to put up their prices and that, but it is only about 3 weeks, and the full high season's probably about 3 months. The other 9 months, this isn't a 12-month a year island. Now again, the bridge might bring in more people, and again, they really are aiming for Thai people, and obviously Thai people are here all year round, so it probably will bring extra people. But like I say, the optimism, the way it is, they'll build up the west side of the island, and as we create more businesses and roads and buildings and industrialise the island, simultaneously the natural beauty erodes. It goes without say. Sure, maybe there's going to be extra people here during low season, but there's going to be so many extra businesses competing for their attention that it's going to feel just as quiet or quieter. But the truth is, that's going to happen with or without the bridge. It's happening now. It's been happening since long before I got here. It will continue to happen. Hello. So that's my 2 shillings worth. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. If you're interested in finding out where this bridge is going to go to or from, check out my very next video, because I will be in the Khanom District. Going to visit 5 or 6 new, it's 5, I've done it already, I know exactly how many it is. It's 5 new beaches, and that's the next video, just got to finish editing it. This was actually just a little bit in the middle of that video, and then it sort of took on a life of its own, and this has ended up being the bigger video, and I thought, okay, let's put this one on first so that we've got context for the second video. So there you go, that's what we were doing here. Context. Nice view, eh? I think I've picked some nice spots for this one. It's been windy, it's been raining in parts. I've tried my best. It's all a man can do. It's a one-man production team. Editing, recce's, script writing, presenting, producing, directing. That's why it's such a sloppy product. Please do subscribe and check out the next video. Until then, goodbye. That was like I was trying to be cool then, wasn't it? It was quite natural, but now that I've done it, I regret it. See ya. That'll do. Should we go walkies then? Walkies.